Leo rising. How you doing, Leo? This is your reading for the Sagittarius new moon that's happening on the 1st of December. So I'm going to be breaking down the astrology for Leo risings. I read for the rising signs. Those of you who have Leo elsewhere in your chart, look to where it falls, look to the house that it's in and the themes of that house. You want to apply those themes along with all the other meaning you've got going on in the sign of the Leo sun, Leo moon, whatever it is. You want to apply all that meaning to the messages that come through, because it will be as if that Leo energy has now energetically moved to the first house. So the astrology for the rising sign will always still link in. You've just got to add on your own natal chart meaning on top of it. Hello and welcome. My name's Chloe. I work with card divination, astrology, and as you just heard and as you can see, I channel multi-dimensional energies through my body, both in the form of physical and vocal light language. All of this brings in healing, attunement, and activation codes to the messages that come through in this reading. Now, I work with 6-month cycles, so if you're watching this after the event, you're not missing out on any of the messages. And so I'm going to be pulling some tarot while I'm talking about the astrology for Leo risings, and I'm going to be pulling some cards on like the main intention of this new moon, right? That it's a 6-month cycle that takes us up to the Sagittarius full moon next year in Gemini season. So pile 1 is the intention behind this next 6 months and the energy that you're working with. Pile 2 is going to be the challenge that's going to come up and how to work with that challenge. And then pile 3 is how to amplify the intention of pile 1. I will be pulling some cards on the Mercury retrograde. This next lunation cycle with the Gemini full moon as well is very much linked into this new moon, into the Mercury retrograde. Mercury went retrograde on the 26th. It's retrograde obviously at the time of this new moon, and it's in the sign of Sagittarius, so it's all very much aligned. It will go direct to the day of the full moon in Gemini, so we've got some big Mercury retrograde energy being tied into this cycle, and I'm going to be pulling a couple of cards on that. 1, what's the intention of the retrograde? 2, what's the challenge, and then how to work with it. Or I'll pull some cards on the outcome in the Gemini full moon. Right, so let's get on with it. Those are the tarot. That's what's going on with the tarot. I'm also going to be pulling one card from 3 different oracle decks at the end of the reading to like sum everything up. Now, Leo risings, where is this happening for you? This is happening in your 5th house of your creation energy. This is the house of joy. Everything that I'm going to say stems from that creative spark that you have within you, your expression of self, from a very creative place, right? This is, as I said, joy, amusement, play, games, the pleasure principle, not just about love, not just about that romantic sense, but in every area. It's linked into children, both literal and figurative children, such as your inner child, or creative things you birth into the world that feel like your children. We've also got romance, dating, and love showing up in the 5th house. It is trine your Leo energy, and the new moon is there, and this is a great, and there's Mars is trining this as well in your sign, Leo. We've got a grand fire trine going on, which is why I'm doing all the fire signs first. And I will get into that astrology in a bit more. So new moon in the 5th. What kind of intentions to set? Well, to elevate and activate a higher level of your creation energy, to work with joy at a higher level, your pleasure energy. This could be setting intentions. You know, the flip side of it is always best to work with both sides of the same coin, of doing some deep inner work with your inner child. It can be a really good thing with a new moon in the 5th, as well as working through elevating your relationships in terms of love, elevating your relationships with children, if you have them or if you work with them, or if it's a creative thing that you're birthing. Setting an intention around starting a new creative project can be really good. And as I said, the flip side of any sort of wounds that you may have around relationships when it comes to love, right? And romance and dating, that your inner child may be just recreating love languages it's learned from its early years, that you can then sort of have an awareness over and then do the work of like refining that energy and getting back to the truth of your creation energy. If you want to set an intention around finding a new love, there's a new moon is a great time to do that. So those are the sort of the big themes you can set around a 5th house new moon. And so let's get into the astrology. The moon is trining Mars over in your sign, Leo, as well as the North Node in Aries. So this is activating what's called a grand fire trine. They are all fire signs. They are all yang in nature. So they've got a lot in common, which means there's a real sense of the capacity to elevate the fire energy, because you've got all three working together, right? It's like big activation energy. And so with these trines are ruled by Jupiter. And so there's a sense of bringing things together in order to elevate, find deeper wisdom, deeper confidence and knowing within yourself that then allows more generosity of spirit, more sense of luck, opportunities and abundance because of that elevation, because of the ease in which this energy is sharing information. And so you're sort of leveling up quite quickly. Dishini moyela di shat inima o tuela dishinia mayani motinia dushenia. So North Node over in Aries is in your 9th house of your perspectives. It's been there for a while now. It's going to leave in January. And so this is you striving and going into new territory around how you perceive, how you map yourself out in the world, in the universe, your morals, your ethics, your philosophies, your connection to source, book, religion, nature, science, all of these matrices that are bigger than you, that you know you're a part of. And so you've been heading into new territory with this, right? Very independent, very autonomous in the way that you perceive the world, in the way that you map out the world and share your information. And so this is in a lovely trine with the new moon, along with Mars over in your sign, Leo. It's going to go retrograde soon in your sign. It's going to head back into Cancer and then come back into Leo again. We've got Leo Cancer energy with Mars for quite some time. I am going to be doing a Mars retrograde series as well. So Mars in the 1st. Mars is very independent. Mars in the 1st is you're going to do what you're going to do, right? Your 1st house is your embodiment of self, right? How you, through your actions and your deeds, it's your body, your character, your sense of self. So it's fire energy. So it's instinctive, right? It's just the go energy, right? Rather than the thought process that leads to action, or the emotional response that leads to action, or the physical sense that leads to action. This is just the compulsion, the instinct, the go energy. And so Mars in the 1st is very much about following your energy, following your frequency, and doing what feels right for you. It's all very much a self-orientated Mars transit. There's a real sense of confidence in the way that you're acting. So if we bring all these three together in regards to the energy that's funneling into this new moon, is your capacity to go into new territory around your perspectives, right? And with those perspectives, we then understand how we take action and the awareness in which we do so. In alignment with the self and the instinct around the self to operate from the heart, with the activation of these perspectives, these really instinctive, embodied, independent perspectives, are all funneling into your creation energy. And so there's a real sense of uniqueness coming in this unfolding. Again, stripping back any sort of entanglement with previous situations, in the themes of the 5th, any blockages there. This new moon is activating a cycle where you're going to see through your actions, your embodiment of self, the alignment of your creativity. So just follow your instincts, observe those actions. And so we've got this real strengthening of letting go of the entanglements and really allowing yourself to activate your creation energy, your joy, your pleasure, and really shift gear in the way that leads you to new adventures. They're tapping the tarot over my chest, which is why I sound like I'm underwater. So that's a really powerful fire energy going on that is we're working with over the next 6 months. So, you know, as I said, flip side, working through entanglements from previous situations, past life energy that have blocked your inner child feeling free, blocked you feeling in your full embodiment of your creativity, your instincts, as I say, leaning towards distortions rather than alignment. And this new moon is really shifting gear and elevating that and moving away from the entanglement and into the flow, right? So this is following the Taurus full moon that was very much about realigning the physical vessel into a sense of embodiment of abundance in this 3D realm. And now our instincts are getting a massive upgrade. And this is after basically a whole summer of water trines, water grand trines, where our emotional body has done some deep healing. Our physical vessel is now feeling more confident in this incarnation. And now we're having a recalibration with our instincts that align with all of that work. Now, if you want a deeper dive on all of this, I don't think I've mentioned it, I've done a collective reading. It's always the first reading that goes out, where I break down the astrology in way more detail. Way more detail of how all the celestial bodies are talking to each other at the exact moment of the new moon, that form an energy blueprint, right? They form a download that we're then working with over the next 6 months. Also pulled collective tarot, as well as channeled messages, as always, coming through. So if you want a deeper understanding of this moon, pause this video, go watch that, and then come back, and then you can add all of that information onto what's coming through in this, and then how to apply it. Okay, you've got an extra. Oh, okay, no, they're wanting it there. I was going to say you've got an extra card. So that's all the fire energy that's going on. So in a sort of a nutshell, it's an activating a new cycle of your actions, taking you further into the higher paradigm of how you perceive, that's coming from a very creative space of this sense of the joy of existing. Whoop. Okay. Okie dokie. Dishenimo tuinia. Iania la mayela. Doshenima dishenima. So, who rules Sagittarius? Well, that's Jupiter. And so Jupiter is influencing what's going on with this moon, and it's over in the sign of Gemini, opposite this moon. Well, not quite, not exactly there. It's about how many degrees away? 8 degrees away from an opposition. It's still an opposition. And so Jupiter's over in your 11th house of hopes and dreams, friends, groups and alliances, and reaping the benefits from your 10th house. It's the house of good spirits. And Jupiter's retrograde has been for a little while now, and that often means that we're questioning things. So we're questioning our faith. That we're questioning, sometimes when Jupiter's retrograde, it can be not so much the abundance, and through that lack of abundance energetically we find deeper reservoirs of resources within ourselves. I had a cheeky peek at that card. And so Jupiter over in the 11th is a cycle around activating a deeper meaning, a deeper faith, and a deeper trust in how your hopes and dreams are going to be activated, your connection to soul family, friends, groups and alliances, as well as reaping the benefits from your 10th house. And so the Jupiter retrograde can see restrictions on that in order to bring a deeper inner understanding of what you truly want, right? What we truly believe in, which is then when Jupiter goes direct, going to serve as like a catapult. So Jupiter's influencing your creation energy. shut up. Okay, that's at the bottom of the deck. I'm now going to pull some cards on the retrograde. On the Mercury retrograde. So Jupiter is influencing this moon of like, okay, let's really make sure the way that we're being creative, the way that we're finding joy is really being propelled. I'm feeling the word propelled towards the elevation of your hopes and dreams, propelled towards your capacity to find new resources around your career and your life purpose, right, of the 10th house, and finding through this activation, finding you're being drawn to soul family, to groups, to alliances, that is then strengthening your joy and strengthening your creation energy and your pleasure that you're getting out of life. Now, Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury's over in Sagittarius, retrograde. And so this is what's called mutual reception. They are in each other's lands, they're in each other's realms, and they're facilitating each other's journey, each other's experience. You often find like things seesaw back and forth when we've got a mutual what's the word? Oh my god, I've just completely forgotten it. Reception. That Mercury's retrograde now, and so there's a real sense of going inwards and really refining how you're perceiving creative energy, how you're perceiving love and romance, and your passion and your all of that energy. With the retrograde, you're going over old territory. Right, and so you're really refining your awareness of, one, where the difficulties are, two, where the blessings are. And so there's a real sense of the way that you're perceiving information around those things, right? As I say, so often we can perceive old cycles in new situations when they're simply not there. As well as how you're communicating your pleasure and your joy and your love, and what does that mean to you? And so Mercury's influencing that, and so basically getting a deeper understanding and awareness of how you're perceiving things and the wisdom that you're finding through it in regards to your feeling good on the planet, right? House of joy, house of good spirits. And so there's going to be a cycle with these retrogrades of things not necessarily manifesting very quickly, but because of the work that we're doing, it's adding on such a layer of depth, and this recalibration to the openness of the consciousness that we're going through. Like, we're getting more and more capacity to believe and have trust in the magical reality in our incarnation, and now our instincts are getting in alignment with that. Following on from that Taurus full moon that happened in your 10th house of life purpose. So these two are governing the whole chart, so it's really a focus point on our truth and the details in which we understand that truth. You might want to look back to the 26th of November to see what downloads you might have got, who may have reached out, what kind of messages and communications were going on that day, because it can let you know the sort of the agenda of the retrograde. So we have that going on, and Mercury at the time of this new moon is trine Chiron over in Aries, and so we're adding on another trine. That the Chiron is the wounded healer, the master teacher, and it's here to help us really get to some core archetypal wounds and find the wisdom in them, right? And really elevate our perspective, and be able to sort of embody that in the way that you move through the world. So you may have had just some difficulties around people resonating with your perspectives, or you believing in your perspectives. And so Mercury with this trine is you're going to get a lot of downloads that have blocked, a lot of clues around what's blocked your perspectives that are linked into the 5th house of joy, of pleasure, of amusement and games. What's hindered you from exploring new territory? What perspective has kept you limited? That Mercury's going to find downloads and information and conversations that are going to reorientate that. Diana. Oh, there's a card. that I hadn't seen flip over. So I'm pulling the cards for the Mercury retrograde. We've got the intention, the challenge, and how to work with it. Lol. Ishini moyana. Itumi dishani motofala. Dishini ma. Where that one? Dialama dishinia. Okay, so we've also got a card at the bottom of the deck. Let's get into the tarot. There's other astrology going on, but I'm going to keep it nice and clean with all the fire. And the rulership energy. So, what is the intention of this moon cycle? That you're then going to be working with over the next 6 months. We have the Hierophant, the Page of Wands, and at the bottom of the deck was the 10 of Cups. So we've got Taurus energy showing up, which is linked into your life purpose and your career, right? Your visibility and your reputation. So there's quite a few messages coming through with this card. Let's just focus on the Hierophant to start off with. This is about embodied wisdom, right? This is being a vessel for source because it's the Pope, right? And so there's a sense of having gone on a spiritual journey, having reorientated yourself and established a connection with source, the universe, God, whatever you want to name it, the unconscious, that this new moon is activating a real level of commitment, of maturity, of embodiment, of your creation energy, that has a very spiritual meaning to it. And there's something around now being seen, right, with the Hierophant. The Hierophant is talking to other people and they're listening. So there's something around this new cycle is bringing in a level of visibility, of reciprocity, receptivity of your creation energy, right, and of how you share that in terms of your perspectives. That is can be linked into just in general, but if we bring it up to Taurus, where Taurus is for you in your 10th house of your career, there's something around what's being activated. That creation energy is going to funnel into your life purpose, right? And there's a sense of, with Jupiter over in the 11th, of bigger groups. There can be more opportunities of, however it is, whatever your career or your life purpose is. Career doesn't have to be life purpose. There's just more openness and reciprocity to bigger groups. This could see more clients come in, and this could just generally be more, whatever it is that you're doing, being more accessible to a larger amount of people, as well as generally a commitment through your creation energy to just walk a really powerful path. That's going to be acting as through that, activating as bringing in activations for your hopes and your dreams, where you're quite solid with where you're going to be headed. So this is the intention. It's going to unfold over the next 6 months. We've got the Page of Wands, and so this is new ways of thinking, engaging with the world, ideas, downloads, opportunities that are coming from this very stable place. Pages are very excitable. They want to talk to everyone. They want to learn everything. So it is a fresher energy and more of a naive energy, but not in a bad way. They're not jaded, as I said. So there's a real sense of renewal of your creation energy coming in. And I said downloads, the way that you're communicating it, the way that you understand it, and opportunities that follow. So that could be, for some of you, this could be about a committed romantic relationship coming in. Others, this may be a level of maturity with children, right? And a healthier relationship with children, whether you're having children, want children but can't. Like there's some kind of balm here around, because very useful, around children and how that shows up. Your inner child having a lot of strength behind it, and therefore being able to perceive the world in a different way. And we've got the 10 of Cups, like really, really positive card. And this is where, through this unfoldment, right, and the sense of stability, you're going to start seeing things externally feel good, right? So there are going to be things that come into an alignment out in the world. This could be, it's a nuclear family. There may be something around that, house, career, or just nice things happening that feel very aligned, right, out in the world. So really positive card to end on with the root intention of this new moon. And also, again, how you perceive, right, that North Node up in Aries, right, of seeing the resonance out in the world, of seeing the flow, and the integration, and that showing up in a way that nourishes your emotional body. Right, so the challenge and how to work with it. We have the devil, the moon, and the Six of Pentacles. So the challenge with the devil, right? This is kind of linking into what I was saying with the fifth house, because your inner child is there, and right, and so often our inner child is running around rampant, based off of wounds and distortions that it encountered in its early years, and it's so ingrained in the unconscious that we're essentially kind of trapped in it. And so this is highlighting limiting desires, limiting addictive responses. Right? There's a lot of addiction in the fifth, because it's like fun, amusement, games, along with the inner child of like a little bit too much. So these can be, I mean, it can be really simple of like being on your phone too much, where like that's the amusement, that's the dopamine, right, of the fifth house. And that can extend into other things, addictions to other things. We're all addicts, by the way. Hey, this is the incarnations, this is the network that we're in. That this is the challenge that's going to come up of, are you going to fall into old patterns? Are you going to still perceive that you're covered in chains when you are in fact liberated, right? And there's going to be perhaps certain situations that feel like they're distorting your power. Or reflecting old dynamics. Trust the process, that these are coming up for you to work with it and really like kind of step back and channel that Mars through your heart of like what does, your heart's frequency has the capacity to sort of implode all of the trauma responses if we just let it, if we just have a bit of faith and a bit of trust in it. So these are the challenges that are coming up that the new moon is here to help you work through, and really recalibrate. And how to work with it, we've got the moon and the Six of Pentacles. So the moon this is a Pisces card, and this is, Pisces for you is in your 8th house of relationship dynamics. So there's something around of just being in contemplation and awareness of habits of where you may give too much, take too much, codependency, scarcity mindset. This moon card showing up is saying, hey, maybe focus on that, right? And really try and see what your intuition is telling you. The moon card is very psychic in its nature. It is the unseen realms. It is, the distortions as well, because the moonlight you cannot see as clearly as the sun. So there may be thinking one thing is one thing when it's actually something else altogether. And when the moon shows up as how to work with something, it is about allowing some stillness for your more intuitive, magical body to come through, rather than the sort of the rational mind. It is also representing the fact that you're going to go on an evolutionary journey. We have the dog and the wolf there, right? Or the instinct, and through conditioning, the taming. And they're going along this path to go climb that mountain and go through the pillars, which you see on the High Priestess, which you see on Lady Justice, of working with the magical and the material world together, and allow yourself to go on this journey of really clocking into where are your needs being met or not being met, and then redirecting it and saying, okay, well, what may have affected me in my early years? What blockage is there? I'll just reference mine. So my inner child struggles a bit because my parents split up when I was around 3. And it was only 5 years ago that I asked my mum, what was my dad like when you lived together? Because I haven't really had a very good relation. He's been very distant. It's all kind of complicated, not really there. I've never really understood what a father is. And she told me that he doted on me. He came back from work and would dote on me. And yet his whole attitude after that was complete separation. So my inner child is really confused by reality because of that core wound and then abandonment issues, internalizing it, think it was my fault, all of that kind of stereotypical stuff. But I'm just sort of highlighting, I'm aware of that, right? And I then apply what's that energy to, okay, well, how am I responding to certain situations? Why am I feeling this disconnection? Why am I not feeling resonance in certain ways? And pulling it back to that. So there's something around there as well. We've also got the Six of Pentacles. Now, the Six of Pentacles is about rebalancing outside of a scarcity complex, outside of a fear mindset, right, of the Five of Pentacles, or feeling left out in the cold, feeling isolated, right? And the Six of Pentacles is saying, you got to acknowledge that something's changed. and that you are now in a space where you're here to rebuild from a space of thriving rather than from a space of scarcity. Because sometimes it takes us a little while. Oh, no. Sometimes it takes us a little while to catch up to the reality that we're in now, and we're just recreating old habits. So it's highlighting certain things. It's calling you to really nourish yourself, be tender to yourself, be soft with yourself, and really give space for your intuition, for your channeling, for your downloads to come through, and work on giving back to yourself. Right, we've got the scales here. This is inner equilibrium. Find your inner balance. Start looking at the world in that way, that this is the energy of giving and receiving, and being really open to receiving this new dynamic, and observing in the 3D, because it's pentacles, where that is. Right, it's going back to the 10 of Cups, of seeing the little things in this energy, of this energy. And rather, if it's not necessarily the bigger things that you'd rather have, but focus on the little things where there is this sense of reciprocity. Focus your energy on healthier relationship dynamics, where there is not imbalance or codependency, and try and focal your energy on there, and create a stronger resonance to that, and feel it, like ground yourself in it. Right, how to work with this energy. I'd forgotten what cards you'd got. So we got the High Priestess and the Empress with the Page of Cups at the bottom of the deck. This is some really cool energy that they're asking you to focus on. So the High Priestess is the Moon's card. It's very similar to the Moon energy. She knows she's drawing towards her that which brings her abundance and fertility, right? She's not trying to plan. She's not trying to control. She's very in her own power. And so it's really calling you to sort of trust in the process, and trust that you are drawing towards you that which you need. But it may show up in strange ways. There may be some challenges in order to sort of get to that space. But know that the challenges that you're drawing towards you are serving the abundance, are serving the flow, the nourishment of your intuition. Again, it's also telling you, tap into your intuition. Give yourself some space for it to come through, right? We then have the Empress. So this is saying focus on your creation energy, focus on your joy, focus on love, focus on fertility. Right, however that shows up, and the abundance of the 3D world, right? Rather than scarcity, rather than the old habits, of the devil energy. You know, Venus is really, spend some time during the week, however long you want to, of doing something creative that's just for you, that has no bearing on anybody or anything or any result. It's just this sort of fun of creation. And then we've got the Page of Cups. Find ways. This is about the magic. This is about talking from a place of love. This is about flow state. It is saying, be open to the messages and the downloads. Try and find ways to observe and communicate your reality from a place of love, from a place of magic. And rather than letting things bog you down, letting the weight bog you down, this is really saying, no. What's coming through? Look, remember the Hierophant of this embodiment. And to get to really amplify that energy, it's saying really operate from a place of intuition and creativity, and not let any of the sort of challenges bring you down. As I said, trust in the process, and find ways of expressing yourself from a magical place. Right, at the bottom of the deck we have the Ace of Pentacles. New beginning, renewal. Got this for Sagittarius. And I love the Ace of Pentacles. It has the flowers of the magician. It's got the rose and the lily. And there's this mountain through the portal. So there's an element of higher perspective of creating on this planet, right? So, but I love this showing up is a renewal of your creation energy, of you being able to see it show up in the 3D, of implementing it in the 3D. Right, Mercury retrograde. What's the intention of this Mercury retrograde, 8 of Swords in reverse, which is hilarious because this is the Jupiter in Gemini card. I told you these two are very aligned right now. And so the intention of Mercury retrograding in the sign of Sagittarius is to release you of limiting beliefs, right? This is trapped in a cage of your own making. This is the acknowledgement that everything is an illusion and you can wiggle out. I love how the water's there, actually. I don't always talk about it, but it's because you've got the moon and the high priestess. It's through your emotional body, it's through your sense of love, of flow. I'd recommend baths, salt baths, especially on a Saturday, to do some clearing work of whatever limiting beliefs have trapped you, right? And so this is all around how you access your joy, how you actually access your creativity, the information that you're drawn to, that you perceive, how you communicate, and also how you perceive what other people are saying and doing that may have just felt like restricted and not visible and limited. There's a real sense of an opening up here of Mercury that's allowing in this sense of freedom, of movement for you when it comes to your creation energy. The challenge, 8 of Cups. Hello, Saturn in Pisces. So the challenge is very much tied into the Devil card, is to be aware that unconscious responses that are so ingrained that they feel comfortable, even though they may recreate neglect or distorted love languages, are going to come up. And the challenge is to, 1, observe them, and 2, to be like, hard no, I'm walking away from this. This isn't me anymore. Because this figure is doing that very thing and going to climb that mountain in order to get a higher perspective. Again, Saturn is over in your 8th house of Pisces, of relationship dynamics, right? Giving and receiving, because it's to the outside world's resources and your interaction with it. And so there's a real sense of what's going to come up over the next this is the Mercury retrograde. So what's going to come up with the Mercury retrograde that's very much locked into the lunation cycle are potential wounds, potential difficulties, is your unconscious saying, hey, no, this is being defragged, this is no longer here. But you've also then got to do that thing of like drawing a line, right? That energetic line of being like, this isn't mine, this isn't how I'm operating, and yet I'm being hit with it, right? And so be aware of, okay, what I was talking about, the inner child, or of those unconscious love languages, of like being in a state of observation, and through meditation, through whatever it is, of you getting in touch with your inner yin energy, your intuition, of seeing what messages come through and seeing what the reality truly is for you of how you want to be in your creation energy, right? How to work with the 8 of Swords in reverse. We've got the 9 of Pentacles. So this is very independent energy. This figure does the right thing that they need to do in order to bring about a holistic life, right? Happy home, happy work, happy relationships, happy relationship with self. And that can often be about saying no, or not prioritizing everything else in your life other than yourself, right? So very strong, very independent, abundant energy of saying, focus on this. Focus on this frequency. And at the bottom of the deck, lol, we have the Gemini card, we have the Lovers. And so this is about the integration of feminine, masculine and spirit all within yourself, not sex specific. We have all of them in order to, through that integration, make the right decisions at big crossroads in life to go climb that mountain, right? So there's a real focus point on the integration of self with this card. In regards to what are your hopes and dreams, right? How do you want to expand in the world with Jupiter being up in your 11th, and focusing on the emotional resonance with it, of falling in love with those ideas, of falling in love with that reality without any expectations. And that's going to really facilitate this Mercury retrograde. It can also be about bringing in a divine partnership. I'm not always going to talk about that, but we can't not, with the 5th house energy of, because of the work that you're doing, you're now opening up a bigger space. I was just wondering why Saturn's getting involved. This moon square Saturn, which I talk about in the collective reading, of bringing in a frequency through your instincts, right? It's all fire, so it's very instinctive. That your instincts are being recalibrated. That means that you're getting out of your body and your head and your energetic field of some repetitive loops. That's, Sagittarius is mutable fire. It wants to roam, it wants to explore. And the overall energy and what keeps coming through when I'm doing readings is this is cracking open new pathways, new possibilities to roam in ways that are part of the elevation that we're going through right now. So there's definitely a big release going on here that's getting you to this, which is just such a powerful reading. Right, I'm going to pull 3 oracle cards, one from 3 decks. Ooh, no, we didn't get a flip. Itoela di shenia. Do shenima yenima it inima. Duela di shenima. Kutofa. Ooh, that one doesn't come up very often. Diani moyena. Di shenima do faniela. Try and stay playful. Try and observe the seriousness of things that may come up, the heaviness of the way you might be feeling. But that Page of Cups is the happiest page, right? It's talking to a fish in a cup, and neither of them are questioning it, right? So it's a real openness, a real playfulness, a real sense of joy and lightness of being. And this is calling you to try and stay in that space without denying the seriousness and the importance of the inner work of the difficulties that may be coming up. Itoela di shenia, Diana, but trust in the process. Right, one more card and then we're going to wrap up, Leo. All these oracle cards, I always pull them before doing a transit. And so that oracle reading is going to come out probably after the new moon. So you might want to keep an eye out for that. That's where I sum up the astrology, bring in like core themes that have shown up in the All 12 Signs series, as well as read the oracle cards. Okay, what are we going to do first? We're going to go for the Shaman's Dream Oracle. All the decks are in the description box, as always, if any of them take your fancy. So, my lovely Leos, I think I mentioned at the beginning, but I will be doing a Mars retrograde series, which is obviously happening in your sign. So we have skywriting the fates. That which we cannot change, non-judgment. It is written in the sky that you have a destiny. You are being invited to explore certain aspects of life unique to you and you alone. That does not mean that your path will be easy, paved with gold and littered with diamonds. Nor does this predict that your journey will be treacherous. It's just your path, with parts that cannot be changed and must be radically accepted as they are. In this way, whatever you are faced with, every single aspect of your life is perfect in its imperfection. Not good or bad, neither in flow nor blocked, this nor that. See your life as a series of opportunities rather than an obstacle course. Once you master the skill of non-judgment, you open to the power of curiosity, unencumbered by the burdens of yesterday's fears, as you look ahead into the potential of the future. Yes, you still need to be brave. Right now you are facing a critical moment in time with an opportunity to meet your fate, a choice point where you expand your influence and your capacity for abundance, love, and purposeful action. Now is the moment to leap into it, whether it be a heart connection, a call to creativity, or a new identity in your work or another area of life. That last section and the bit about burdens of yesterday's fears, that's all summed up that Taurian career energy, the Venus, the sort of the abundance, the creativity of it all, the heart wounds. Leo rules the heart. Mars is there, so operating from a heart space that's helping release motivations that have blocked that. Ishali diala, dienia doela. With all, so whether it be a heart connection, a call to creativity, or a new identity in your work or another area of life, with all your heart and soul, your success is surely written in the stars. In order to bring your destiny to fruition, you must jump into the adventure with both feet and do your part. Excuse me. So, do the work. Trust it. Trust the work. You're getting into an alignment, but it does require a little bit of reflection, a little bit of in-depth. I mean, this is coming through for all the signs because of the 2 retrogrades. And have a bit of patience. Don't judge anything in your environment or your previous experiences. Allow that lack of conflict in your vessel to then bring forth greater wisdom and release certain bonds. Again, the focus on creativity, abundance, follow that frequency. that's leading to a greater stability around your embodiment, around your life purpose, your career. Right, don't take anything personally. Transform your life. This is from the 4 Agreements Oracle, which is based on a book written by a Virgo sun. And this was given to me by a Gemini rising, so very mercurial in its nature. I recommend that book to anybody. It's very short and you follow those 4 agreements. Life just gets better. There's no getting around it. So transform your life. There's that Venus energy and this sort of the surrender energy of the ocean, of that moon, of the high priestess, of getting out of your own way so you can allow the flow of your transformation to occur. When you refuse to take things personally, you avoid many upsets in your life. Your feelings of anger, jealousy, and even your sadness will simply disappear if you don't take things personally. This is a habit, right? This is a habit that has to be established, right? You can say this out loud and still feel it very deeply inside. And it's just a daily practice of how you're showing up. And are you showing up in a way that is just telling you you're taking things personally? How can you pull back even further to really sort of like figure out, okay, what are your core desires? What is your core pleasure, your core creativity? And so often that has nothing to do with the certain situations or wounds or triggers. You know, there's just that sort of desire to be open to those experiences rather than feeling that they've limited you on your journey and now they are coloring everything apart, every part of you. And we're really sort of shaking out of that. Diana, right, so from so this is so just summed up what I just said about your core energy. This is Rainbow Brainskull, and it says, I've always enjoyed enjoying things. So it's saying, yeah, underneath it all, that's who you are. And this is what this moon is doing for you, of like really getting your instincts in alignment with it. Did you already forget how much fun actual fun is? There are so many cool objects, so many fun activities, so many interesting sounds, so many everythings. Look around. Well, Leo, that's a great energy to end on. It sums up this. It also sums up the reflection on this. Right, and all of it. If you want a personal reading, perhaps you want to deep dive a little further on this, the Mercury retrograde, the Jupiter retrograde, the upcoming nodal shifts, or anything at all, doesn't have to be astrology based. My details are everywhere. You can book through my personal website or email me directly, because that means you can pay by PayPal. So that's, yeah, if you feel so inclined, I would love to do a personal reading. I absolutely love them. They're always wild. Other than that, be good to yourself, Sag. Be good to those around you. Not Sag, I apologize. Leo, how could I not see Leo and say Leo? Be good to yourself, Leo. Be good to those around you. Safe travels and be well until we meet again.